Rest assured, if we find your tortoise, madam, we'll be in touch. Yes, Inspector, I've been going through the truncheon order. There's all kinds of stuff on this list. Plasterboard fixings, 2 tins of paint, raw plugs, and a wallpapering brush. Normally it's new boots and lapel badges. Oh yes, I think there's something in the ledger about that. Yes, here it is. Sundries for Ralph's house. Oh, right, Chief. I'll drop 'em round then. Take a hammer drill. Monday morning, and I'm out here today because I found all these bits of timber in my late father's garage, and none of it has woodworm in it, and they're all 2x3s, and I think it's exterior wood because I think it would have had woodworm in it by now if it hadn't been treated in the past. But I'm giving it another coat. This or similar brand, this was about 29 quid in Tool Station. Stinks a bit, and you don't want to get it on your clothes at all, otherwise you'll smell of it for days, even when you come out of the shower. But you know, it's all good stuff. But anyway, we're treating that because I've got a use for this, and it's all related to the demolition of the garage, and I'll show you. You see, now I've demolished it, I'm left with these raw open ends, and I've got to have a way of closing this off so I can get all my tools in. Luckily, most of the guttering's in place. I'll probably have to work on that, and also I'm going to use some of the asbestos sheets that I've taken off, short sections, just so that this roof comes out slightly. I had planned to fill this in with breeze block, which would have been a nice permanent secure solution, but I decided that this garage will, or concrete shed shall we call it that, will get re-sited. I'm going to move it somewhere else, probably to the side of the garden, and turn it around, if you see what I mean, so it takes up less space, but still provides that storage, because there's a wooden shed in the garden that my dad built many years ago, which is just gradually collapsing under its own weight, so that will have to go in the fullness of time, and therefore, you know, this storage area is going to be quite important. But the way to close this off, I've decided is, you see, we've got these bolts that go through and they come out the other side. In this instance, it's holding on the window, but it also holds on the next panels. Alright, so you've got a bolt that comes through each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a longer, I've got some stud in around that thread, and I shall put some longer pieces through, and that timber that I've been treating I'm going to bolt to the face of this nice and snug, and that provides then a good anchor point to be able to put 2x3s across, and gradually start to put a frame in here. And I've ordered from, and this brings me to them, and I'm not promoting any company, I'm certainly not paid promotion, but I'm using Oakdale Fencing. A lot of reasons why I'm using them. They're really good to deal with. Nice bunch of lads, very helpful. In fact, I've just been over there this morning and ordered some shiplap timber. As I said, you've got to be careful how you say that. So I'm going to put a frame in, cover it in shiplap, and if it's all screwed together nice and tight, when I come to move it, I can take that whole side out and then reinstate it afterwards. So that should work out quite well. There's a sort of process of jobs that I've got to do. I've got to roll this camper forward, which isn't a problem, I can push that on my own. I've got to roll it forward. I've got to box this in so it's all secure, and at least then I've got somewhere to put tools. And also timber that I've got coming from Oakdale Fencing to finish off the end of the garden. And I have to say, they've been pretty amazing even during the pandemic. And of course the price of timber has, well, literally gone through the roof. It's expensive now, but just to give you an idea, if I bought a length of shiplap, say 2.5 meters long, looks like this, yeah, that's shiplap, 2.5 metres. It was about £6.50 at B&Q. If I went to Oakdale, it's still £6.50, but it's 4.5 metres long. So I thought, well, this is just over 2.5 metres, so it would have been a bit tight putting shiplap on. So I've gone for the 4.5 metres, and the offcuts that I've got will be enough to replace my front fence. Yeah, I'll do it with shiplap, why not? Just turn it on its end. Just as good as featherboard in its own way. Yeah, so, and I'm going to have to cut these a little bit shorter, and they'll act as supports for the extra bit of roof I'm going to add. And then that should all be nice and secure then. What I will do is drill these frames out, put a drill bit through them. I shall put bars across these, just to minimise the possible chance of anybody breaking it and crawling in and trying to oik out tools. We don't really want that. So, you know, you can't make anything foolproof, can you really? I mean, if they wanted to, I suppose they could come through the roof. And do, apparently. Yeah, I've seen it done. My stepfather had to put wire mesh up inside his roof. It didn't stop them breaking the roof, but it stopped them getting in because they've got another hurdle to get through. I'm afraid this is the modern age we now live in, isn't it? So, yeah. So if you live in the West Midlands area, or in central England, Oakdale, definitely the best place to go. And order it all online, which I've done for most of my order. So that should be coming within the next 2 to 10 working days. He did say an order number hasn't been allocated to it yet, but they certainly billed me for it. Anyway, all that timber is going to come to about 320 quid, something like that. That's for the whole back fence, all the posts. I got the Met post separate, and all the shiplap for this. And generally, there's usually a couple of boards left over. They're not incredibly mean with it. So, you know, I shouldn't run short. So, yeah, it's all going to work out pretty good, I think. The main thing is to get this camper forward, get this boarded off, get all my tools in there. And as I said to my lad today, I do have a lot of tools, I always have. I've accumulated even more in the last 2 years, of course, working on the house. And they're all over the place. I can't find anything. Can't find paintbrushes, you know, scrapers. I have to dig around. So really, if I've got a central place for it all, and I've got all my decorating stuff in one box and all my electrical tools in another, it will be a lot easier to manage. I can just come and get what I want and put it back when I've finished with it, which is the way it should be with tools. So here we are Monday morning, and as I say, if the weather holds off, and who knows, still dark clouds, we may be able to do a little bit of sawing. I recently bought one of these. This is a Bush valve radio. It's called a DAC10. There was a DAC90 before it, but anyway, it's quite a classic radio. Well liked, I think, for the look. Not great in terms of working on it for various reasons. And of course, the other thing with these radios, and this one in particular, it's potentially a live chassis, depending on how the plug's wired up. And it doesn't use a transformer to drop the voltage from 240 down. It uses a massive resistor. It's all built down to a cost, and it is possible to convert them over to transformer if you can find the right transformer. But normally, and I think some of these stick, but you've got pre-select buttons on it as well. So yeah, nice dial's all intact, in very good condition actually. Just wants a good clean. But here's the big thing with these old valve radios, and I'm just going to not rip the back off, but I'm going to whip the back off, and I will show you why. So here's the inside, and it's a 5 valve set, and as I mentioned, it doesn't have a transformer like most electronics do. It drops the voltage by losing it in heat, with a big resistor. It's a bit like putting an electric fire element in, you know, to drop it down to 5 volt or something. But anyway, I'm going to work through this. I'm certainly not going to fire it up until I've replaced all the capacitors in it, because when this radio was built, they made capacitors with paper, foil and beeswax, and they do tend to short, and there's a good chance this will, as it hasn't been fired up. This one has got a twin capacitor in one can. You can buy replacements of these, but probably what I'll do is hollow it out and replace the 2 capacitors in that at the same time. But if we flip this over, that's the best to see this. Can you see down there? Get a bit of light on it. Right. You see these brown beeswax looking, they are the capacitors, and yeah, they don't look in great condition. Resistors tend to last out, but I'll test all these. Fortunately now you can get a kind of repair kit for these to replace all these caps. So I'm definitely not going to fire this up, and as I mentioned, there's no isolation from the mains, because it just, you know, it's directly off the mains, and then the voltage drop with a big resistor. So, you know, there are pitfalls, there are potential problems with these if you don't know what you're doing. This is actually the aerial wound around this end. Let's see if the tuning actually works. I didn't check that. Not that it matters at this stage, but it's all got to be sorted out. Yes, it does. Valve radios do sound absolutely fabulous, and on the wall mount, and they're, providing they're set up right, they're extremely sensitive as well. So then on the side you've got on and off and volume. That locks pretty solid. No, it's just starting to move now. Yeah, so all of this needs a lot, you know, a lot of maintenance. May do this in a future rails house briefly. I don't really want to convert the whole of rails house into radio repair, but I just thought I'd show you this. Yeah, this is the Bush DAC10. Well, a week of rain, not a lot I can do about it. The good news is the wood from Oakdale arrives on Tuesday. That's for the fence and the ship lab. I will get it right at the end. So really that's about it from Rails House. Remember, comments below, good or bad, ideas, thoughts in your head, put them down, and well, we'll see you next time. Right lads, you know why we're here. Take a seat. PC Harris, we expect the very best of our officers at all times, and on this occasion you fell short. Yes sir, when we send you all down to Rails House, it's important that all your decorating skills are up to scratch. The inspector will fill you in. Yeah, I expect all of you to have screwdrivers and clean paintbrushes. Your brushes were filthy, Harris. Yes sir. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.